Perfect.
Look like we're about to be live in a few seconds.
Yep, I think I already got the notification. So, welcome, Kirk. Uh, we are so glad to have you. That is the first thing that I would like to talk. Being a person, having a lot of industry experience, uh, I know you have a big story for us. Definitely, not only for us, it is also for those emerging founders who would love to hear from you your experience and how what you see so far and things from there. So once again, glad that we got you here, Kirk. And
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
yeah, so
Welcome.
uh,
Awesome. You want to take the first question or should I?
go ahead, enjoy. You're the one.
All right. Kirk, for anyone watching who may not know much about you, can you just explain a little bit about you and your background?
Sure. I'm originally from Colorado. I live in Utah right now. I come from a ranching family. So a lot of ranching families, a lot of us that, escape the ranch, we end up in construction. So I ended up in construction, like a lot of people, that are escaping the ranch like me. So right now, let's see, I'm in Utah. I'm a general contractor. I've worked for 23 years for big construction companies all over the country, from Washington, D.C. to Indiana to right here in Utah. But 2 years ago, I opened up my own company and I'm building my own projects now. So um, basically my in-laws passed away. We had a little nest egg, so we took it, invested it in ourselves, so we could start our own business. But my story is a little different than most founders because, and Jerry's heard this because we've talked pretty good. I think, what did we spend 2 hours on the phone? And it was supposed to be like a 30-minute conversation. We had a great time. But my wife and I have three kids, two of which were disabled, and we lost two of those three children to their disabilities. So while that was a devastating blow, we've decided to start a nonprofit. So our nonprofit is called the Holland House Project. You can go and look it up at hollandhouseproject.org. And what we do is we help families with disabled children in times of crisis. What we're doing is we're helping them access counseling services so that they can learn the skills that we wish we'd had 20 plus years ago. And then uh, the other thing we do is we have a Holland House where we provide respite. Some people don't need help with that financial side; they just need a break. So we also do that. So we're developing right now a little 19 unit uh, resort in Hurricane, Utah. That's down by St. George, just about 2 hours north of Las Vegas. We service Arizona, Southern California, Nevada, and Utah out of that location. So we provide respite for those families that need it. It's all free of charge. But this year, my wife and I decided we needed some help because we've been doing this all on our own money. And in order to break this thing out and to start to be able to raise funds, the IRS made me break my company into three. So now I'm working on building three companies at once. So I've got the Holland House, and then we've got the Broken Kids, which is our family fund that manages all the money, and 50% of everything we make every year goes into the operating budget for the Holland House, which isn't nearly big enough yet. We want it bigger. But then I have a for-profit side, and that's the OPD construction. OPD, we take the Broken Kids money, we invest it into new projects, we sell those projects, we make a profit on those projects, and again, that builds the fund that we manage through the Broken Kids, and again, helps more families with disabled children. So that's kind of me in a nutshell and what I'm doing. It's kind of a big thing. It's a little convoluted, but it's ambitious. We're trying to do something good for other people because, that's our healing journey is helping others.
That's a great purpose, Kirk. I just like, I don't know. I'm just running out of words here after hearing from you. But the purpose that you have, Kirk, that's worth appreciating. It's huge. So yes, I really see that, and how things are kind of happening. Um, you know, uh, you want to add something there, Injury?
Yeah, for sure. So you mentioned that you have, the for-profit side, the nonprofit side. How long have you been in business again? On
We
LinkedIn, it was saying like over 25 years.
Well, I was a construction manager. I've been a construction manager now for 25 years, almost 26. And I did 7 years in the trades before that. So altogether, I've got about 32 years of experience in the construction industry. But we broke away, and I finally got sick and tired of the corporate world about 2 years ago. And we opened the Broken Kids Company, and we were doing, the nonprofit side and the for-profit side and the fund all in one company. And the IRS didn't like that because, according to IRS rules, once money's donated to a nonprofit, and in order to be a 501c3 nonprofit, you cannot be for profit on another side. So you have to open up another business to do that. But then the money only goes one way. So you can't take the money that you've earned and then reinvest it in more projects to grow your endowment. The nonprofit simply has to sit on it, and they can't they can't reinvest that money into for-profit projects. So IRS rules being what they are, now I have three companies. So we've been in the process of splitting those out over the last 3 years, or last 2 years, excuse me. So we started out with Broken Kids, then I opened up the construction company, which originally was BKC Construction, but we decided to change it to OPD. And there's actually a really good story about OPD in there. And then we opened up the Holland House this year. So I've just converted the old BKC into a C Corp. So now we're a C Corp, where we were an LLC before. And that's the change from BKC to OPD. And the rename, the rebrand, it was really for fun. I've got a nephew, and my sister is my drafts person, right? So my sister is an interior designer. She's all official and has her own company and everything. And we were renovating a townhouse 2 years ago that we own down in St. George. My wife and I do. We have a second home down there, and my sister was helping me, and we would stay up until 1, 2, 3 a.m. working on this house, and then we'd be up again at like 6 a.m. to do some more. So finally, she was taking my nephew to an appointment, and he said, "Mom, you guys have OPD." And she was like, "OPD, what is that?" He says, "You have obsessive project disorder." So I've named the construction company OPD for obsessive project disorder. And that's the name of my company. So through
Awesome.
the 1 day program, that's the company I'm building is OPD Construction.
I have so many questions. So, firstly, on the business side, one of the
Uh-huh.
burning questions, because it's a process that I'm going through, converting from LLC to a C Corp, what was your major decision behind that, and why not a S Corp?
Two reasons. One of them was I did a ROBS, which is a rollover for business startup. That's where I can use my 401k funds that I've saved. So I rolled over 67,000 or $68,000 worth of 401ks just for some seed money to get started, help me with my cash flow with the new company. And then that requires a C Corp. But I also like the C Corp because it has very robust protections for business owners. So if you're a business owner and like me, I'm a developer slash construction manager, construction company. If I built some condos and a condo association decided to sue me, the company meaning OPD, is now treated as an individual. There's very robust protections for the owners and investors in a C Corp. Yes, I get double taxed. I get taxed because the company gets taxed kind of like an individual at the corporate income tax rate. And then any dividends that I get out of the company that go into, my broken kids end up getting taxed as well. But for the protection that it provides me, especially in the, litigious world we live in, it's a good structure for keeping me safe and keeping the fund that I'm building safe. Does that make sense? There's no corporate veil for them for somebody to puncture. They can't get through that one.
So that's like a legal barrier that you have there to protect your assets from
Correct.
being, kind of used
Correct.
in something comes up.
Yeah. So, like, for example, this little resort that I'm building, these are vacation homes. So I'm on the opposite end of the spectrum from affordable. I'm clear over, in a value add for people. So my unit cost is going to be down around $1 million a unit. The market rate on these homes as appraised right now is 1.6 to 1.8 million, depending on which unit, because I've got three different units. So my profit is between six and $800,000 per unit. So I'm scheduled to make somewhere in the ballpark of about $16 million on this project. What I don't want is once I get that money, it gets taxed, which is painful enough. But once it gets through and it gets to the Broken Kids Company, if somebody sues the construction company, uh, there is no way for them to get to the endowment. So, my endowment is worth, 150 million dollars. Nobody's going to be able to sue me to get through to that endowment and destroy it. So it's a legal protection that I'm putting in place intentionally to insulate myself from
We're
any.
literally taking notes for sure.
Yeah, yeah. Well, this is it's a choice. There are other ways you can protect it, but I've elected to go this way simply because of the robust protections to keep, you know, if you accidentally use your credit card for, say, for me, that would be the Broken Kids. That, I have credit cards for all three companies. But if I accidentally use that for a construction company purchase, now there's a puncture through the corporate veil where they're connected now legally. So I want that severed fully
For sure.
because,
Okay. And
people will actually run into a construction company truck. I don't, I want to use this as an example. I apologize. While I was working for a company called Janes out of Albuquerque, New Mexico, Janes Corporation, they're a construction company out of there. We actually had a lady that ran through a red light and hit one of our trucks. So when she hit that truck, she claimed whiplash, this, that, and everything else. And I don't want to say much about New Mexico. I really don't love New Mexico. The people down there are ridiculous. But our truck was cited as the guilty party so that she could make a claim against a big, rich construction company.
wow.
So you've got to be really careful. As a company that has some money or is considered large, you're a target. You're wearing a target on your back.
Would you feel the corporation status would have helped a little bit back then?
Fortunately for Janes, it did. They're
Okay.
a corporation. It's the Janes Corporation down there. Um, they're it protected the owners of the company, so they weren't able to penetrate anything other than just attacking the construction company, which again still had millions of dollars in it. But she was trying to pull somewhat of a insurance scam on the construction company.
Wow.
So things like that happen. So especially if you're out in the public and you got vehicles with your name on it, there's a real debate to be had there, whether or not you put your logo and your name on like a vehicle. You could be targeted. There are
Do you do that? You don't put your
unscrupulous
logos
people.
on yours?
I don't. No.
Awesome.
Not at all, because I don't want anybody hitting me. I don't want anybody knowing that I'm there. Matter of fact, I don't want that tradesman that's angry for whatever reason throwing rocks at my windows.
That makes sense. So, earlier you mentioned that you joined one day for a little bit of support,
Mhm.
uh, making sure that things are in line, that we are doing the business the proper way. What sprint are you on? What module and what sprint?
Well, I'm still early in the program. I'm on Sprint 2.
Oh, nice. Nice, nice.
So we're, or not Sprint 2, but Class
Module 2.
2, excuse
Yeah,
me. Yeah, we're in Sprint 11. We're just finishing that up this week and we're moving into 12 this next Sunday. Well, today's Friday. So for me, in my mind's already in Sprint 12.
for sure.
Assessment number 2. But yeah, we're pretty early on. But I found even though I have an established business, I found this second class, the customer centricity, to be extremely useful. I've dug in and asked some very poignant questions of my customers. I've been talking to realtors. I've been talking about some of the things with associated with the risky assumptions tracking that we've been doing has been extremely helpful.
For sure. So that's a little bit ahead of where I am. I am on sprint 8 currently, technically, sprint 9. I'm on the second assessment as well, but it's a second assessment for module 1, so like right at the end. And it's kind of like a pivot week for me. Like I didn't have my squad session this week, but I'm speaking with my mentor tomorrow. So we're kind of just, I'm in the transitioning phase between module 1 and module 2. So no idea what you were talking about, but
Oh, it's good
eager
stuff.
to learn.
It's good stuff. Once you get into that customer centricity, they've really got you focused in on talking to your customers and finding out, how your product is going to be accepted. What makes them want to buy.
So,
Having those
high level
conversations is
overview. Can you
huge.
tell me what is customer centricity?
High level, well, they're going to give you a customer interview tracking sheet,
No.
right? And they're going to have you talking to, well, you've already got that from the first one, right?
Yeah.
You're going to continue on with those customer discussions, but now you're going to add in the risky assumption. So the risky assumption is, what are the assumptions that you've made and how risky are they for the success of your business? So for me, for example, I was wondering, I mean, can I get a 1% hit rate on real estate uh, customers, to sell my units? My units are $2 million dollars a piece, roughly, just under $2 million dollars a piece. So, can I hit a 1% rate? And what I've done is I've gone out and I've actually talked to enough customers, talked to enough realtors, and gotten enough data that now I'm like, yeah, that's not that risky. I know I can hit that 1% rate. In St. George, in the market I'm in, it's actually more like a 3% rate that I'm hitting, that they're hitting down there. And costs are somewhere between $1,500 and $3,500 per sold home. So finding that information and getting that confidence and eliminating that risk, good stuff. And also making sure I'm selling to the right crowd. That's huge too. So I started out thinking that I was going to sell a lot of these homes and these fractions because they're more affordable. I'm aiming for, $250,000 or less per fraction for, a big, 7 bedroom, 7.5 bath house. So all the rooms are king rooms. They all have in-suite bathrooms. So I was thinking I was going to be aiming for millennials, so they could bring their siblings along and things like that. Because I'm right here on the Silicon Slopes here in Utah. A lot of companies have left Silicon Valley and they've relocated here to Utah. And I'm literally 5 miles away from the Silicon Slopes. So we've got a lot of very wealthy um, tech people here. So I thought I was going to be targeting that group. Turned out that was wrong. So I had to change my audience. So that customer centricity has you really focusing in on that audience.
Awesome.
I talk way too much, so you guys feel free to tell me to. That's good.
No, it's perfect. We like that.
Yep, we are here to hear you. Good. But a few steps back, right? You mentioned about the corporate world, your 23-year experience before you become the founder.
Mhm.
Uh, I am also into the corporate world, and injury is also there. I have a lot of friends who are in the corporate world. So, life in the corporate side, life in the founder side, because I'm just getting started, you already are there. Can you tell, like, for me, for injury, and for all our friends who are in the corporate world, like, how is it different?
How's it different? Oh man, I got to be honest with you. Um, I was born to be a founder. I struggled a bit in the corporate world because, I all of the time we're growing up, our teachers and our parents are telling us to learn how to think, learn how to use that gray matter between your ears because, it's not just there for, keeping your hat on. It's actually useful. Think. So I learned how to think. And in the corporate world, more often than not, I started to feel like a cog. I had a job and I had a lane, and they wanted me to stay in that lane. And they didn't want me to get creative. They didn't want me to find new ways to do things that were more efficient. They just wanted me to follow their process, get things done. As a founder, oh man, I get to be creative. I get to color outside the lines. It's like, it's kind of like, getting to go out in the street, get around and go skinny dipping for the first time. It's awesome.
There you
It's
go.
fun. It's a refreshing experience that you never knew you'd get to have.
I think pretty much everyone who is transitioning from a corporate culture to a founder series have similar story, I believe. Because like they would like to be creative, and when you get into the corporate ladder, it's almost like there are like, I'm not telling like you don't get to be creative there, but there are certain limitations on how much you can be, kind of creative. You
Mhm.
have your space and you kind of do that, but with the founder, I see that there is no such space restrictions.
Mhm.
You pretty much get a ground, you just play, that's it.
Yep. Well, and I enjoy the being responsible for everything. I'm a self-starter. So
Mhm.
for me, this has just been the best experience for the last 2 years. I have enjoyed it. I've worked harder. I've worked more hours. I've spent a hell of a lot more money than I ever wanted to.
Mhm.
But you know what? I enjoy it so much more. I think entrepreneurship is something everybody should experience because once they've built something, they'll understand business better.
Right,
And then they'll start to understand how to at least fit into the corporate world better, um, and how they can help lead and innovate.
right, right, exactly. And one question that I would like to ask you, being in Colorado for 10 years here from my side, so what is the best part about Colorado?
Colorado? Oh man, that's home. I'm from southwestern Colorado, down by Durango. What
Durango,
part are you
okay.
in? You in Denver?
The Denver, yes.
You're in the Denver metro area. Okay, so you got Rocky Mountain National Park there to the west,
Yep.
which is gorgeous. But I love southwestern Colorado. I was born there in Durango. I was raised on my grandparents' cattle ranch in a little town called Mancos at the foot of Mesa Verde.
Hmm.
So that's about 30 miles west of Durango. The mountain biking, I mean, down in Durango, we're 4 hours from the nearest freeway. You can't get to a freeway in less than 4 hours. So
Yeah.
it is way out in the boondocks. It is the best. And I love the mountains. I've climbed a lot of the 14ers. Have you gotten to climb any of the 14ers yet? I mean, you can drive
Yeah.
one of them right outside
Not
Denver.
climb, actually drive. Yeah.
But yeah, you got to go climb a 14er. You got to go stand on top of one, especially there in Rocky Mountain National Park and look down on the city. And then you'll start to appreciate the how small man is, how small we are. Our
Yep.
greatest achievements are still tiny little things on the horizon there compared to those monstrous, beautiful mountains that you get to climb. It's just God's country and it is beautiful.
There.
I love the Rocky Mountains.
Yep. Yep. Great fan. I did climb even the Pikes Peak. One time we had those thunderstorms. I still have that in memory. Like people were asking us to, hey, go to the covered section soon because there is a huge thunderstorm. You should not.
Hmm.
I don't know.
Those are fun when you get up above tree line and the lightning's cracking
Yep.
and you're sitting on your backpack and hoping the ground lightning doesn't get you. That can be pretty scary, but at the same time, it is magnificent, isn't it?
Yep. Yep. Yep.
You ever been there for the races up Pikes Peak?
No,
You should go
not
sometime. They
sometime.
do
Yes.
car races from the bottom to the top, and they do electric vehicles and they do high-end sports cars. They'll be racing Ferraris and Lamborghinis to the top, and they'll be doing dragsters to the top. And then they got these guys in these little tuners, the little cross-country racers.
Mm.
It is so fun. It is a blast.
Yep.
You've got some great stuff there on the they call it the front range, as if the Western Slope is the back range.
Mm.
They call it the Front Range, but I'm a Colorado native, born and raised, right? So we've always called it the Western Slope and the Eastern Slope. The Eastern Slope is the plains, the Western Slope is the mountains.
Yep.
The
Yep.
Western
That's true.
Slope is amazing.
Yep. They already got the snow of the season, and we are
Yep.
still waiting for that.
Well, and the bird hunting ain't that bad as you follow uh the Platte River or even the Arkansas, either
Mm-hmm.
one of those, follow them down. The bird hunting is amazing there in the eastern part of Colorado. Colorado's a wonderful place. You've got some great opportunities there.
Yep. I really love here.
It's awesome.
Yep.
And Jerry, you're up in Minnesota, no, Michigan, just
Yeah,
outside of Lansing, right?
I'm in Lansing. Yeah,
You're in Lansing. Okay. Yeah, that's a beautiful country too. Lots of lakes, lots of trees.
that's my
Well, the
favorite
Great
place to
Lakes
go.
are awesome. Huh?
My favorite place to go is by the lake.
Oh, I bet.
When Yeah, not the Great Lake. We actually have like a park that has a lake in it. It's called Hawk Island, and there's an island in the middle of this lake, and I guess it's shaped like a hawk, or like it's where the hawks come to roost. Like I'm not really sure why it's called Hawk Island, but it's a pretty cool
Pretty cool
lake
place.
scene, and you can walk through trails of trees. There's a lot of trees, and you can go like on the concrete path, or you can do dirt path. So nice place to hang out on the weekend.
I haven't been to Michigan in several years, but my wife is from Vermont. So we've explored a lot of New York, Pennsylvania. We used to live in Maryland for a while when I worked for the government. I worked for the government as a linguist for the NSA, and then I ended up. We lived. That's another story, another day. But we did that, and then my folks, my in-laws, lived up in Vermont, so we'd travel up and down New York and all over the place. Adirondacks. I love the East. It's beautiful. I guess you're Midwest there. Sorry.
Yeah, for sure. I'm Midwest, but I have technically lived in the East, from Tennessee. So that's it counts as East Coast. I'm not sure why, but
Tennessee,
also, yeah, Tennessee,
Eastern
it
time
counts as
zone, not Central.
the west side of Tennessee is central. So the state is actually split in different
Split in
time
two.
zones. Yeah, it's a little weird. So you mentioned a few things, and I had a lot of questions
Yeah, fire
about
away.
all of them. So you said that's another conversation for a different day. We're gonna ask you about that previous bachelor's that you got in linguistics. Um,
So,
but we can have that conversation a different
yeah.
day because you know you had a bachelor's, now you're getting uh another degree. And I just think that's really interesting. But you mentioned wife, and also as an entrepreneur working those long hours, how do you make time for family while also working on your MBA?
I just have to be disciplined about it. My wife just finished a doctorate. She's a doctor now. So she went back to school at age 48 and got her doctorate in audiology. And now she's an audiologist working at an ENT's office. So she does all that hearing test and she's amazing. She got a doctorate and she studied a lot more than I have to for this MBA. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
I'll be frank. So for me to be able to, just say, okay, on Friday afternoons, She gets off at 1 o'clock because her office just shuts down at 1 o'clock on Fridays, and they take half a day. I shut down at 1:30 when she gets home, and we go on a date every Friday.
I love
So
that.
it's kind of a you just got to plan for it. And then
I
she's
hear
always
you.
getting after me. I'll be sitting at a restaurant or something like that, or I'll be sitting, she'll be watching something. She likes to crochet. We might turn on a movie and I'll be sitting there on the phone and she'll be sitting there. She'll just look over at me and say, "Are you working?" Oh, yes.
Obsessed with projects. Yeah, we all have a little bit of project obsession. Yeah.
We
I do this
do.
I do
Obsessive
the same
project
thing
disorder. As an entrepreneur, you have to, right?
for sure, or else nothing would ever get done. Like it'll just be, oh, it's a project, but like impulsively wanting to finish it. Like
Uh-huh.
completely understand.
Yep. Yep. She makes fun of me so much because, "Are you working?"
Yeah.
You're supposed to be paying attention to your family. Yes, dear. You're playing game.
No, I'm definitely guilty of the same thing. Like, what you doing? I'm just doing something for school, doing something
Time to
for
play a
work.
game. Yes, yes, ma'am. Put the phone away.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. It's hard, but I find that with the flexible hours and the just not feeling constrained by an 8 to 5 schedule, I enjoy life more. I end up getting a lot more work done, but I also end up being able to take the time when I need to for the things I need to do. And I don't feel like I have to be answerable or, in the office during certain hours. So
Yeah.
I enjoy the flexibility.
Speaking of things you like to do, earlier you mentioned rock climbing, and on your website, Broken Kids Co., there's a picture of a mountain climber in the footer. And to me, it didn't make any sense. Is that you? Is that you mountain climbing on your website?
Yep.
How long have you been climbing?
Well, I climbed from when I was a kid. Now I'm getting so old and fat because I'm 52 that I do mostly rappelling, but yes, we still do a little bit of climbing. But I've been doing that since you're gonna laugh, but I was a Boy Scout. So when I was 15 years old, 15 or 16 years old, I went to a high adventure camp down in New Mexico. So I'm from southwestern Colorado, was part of the Great Southwest Council. So I went down there and we did a high adventure camp where they took us out into the national forest, and we just went crazy and we figured out we like to climb. So we started climbing everything everywhere we could. And I went to school here at BYU, and right behind BYU is a place called Rock Canyon, excuse me, Rock Canyon. And Rock Canyon is just full of climbing and mountain biking and all kinds of stuff. So I've been climbing my whole life. I'm just getting too old and weak.
No
My
such thing.
strength weight ratios are doing this.
I got friends older than you that still mountain climb,
Yeah,
for
it
sure.
just gets harder for some reason. And you got to
No.
watch your weight. So, always checking the diet because you put on that extra 5 pounds and now you're hauling an extra 5 pound bag of sugar up a hill. Woo!
Yeah. No, what's interesting is like the load of 5 pounds for us carrying it to the joints is like 100 extra pounds per pound. So I completely understand there.
Yeah, yeah. But no, I still do it. I still do it a lot. Yeah, my wife and I've gotten more into canyoneering than climbing. So behind me, that's what this background is. This is Zion National Park. That's a photo that I took in Zion National Park. Zion National Park is all about narrows. So you're going down slot canyons, that maybe 300 feet straight up, and you can touch both walls like this. So you can chimney up the whole canyon. I don't know how you get un, you know, out because you're stuck between them when you get to the top. But um, yeah, that's it's pretty fun.
No, that sounds very interesting. There's actually something similar in Tennessee. I think it's called Lookout Point, where we walk
Mm,
between the mountains. And like we're literally like, 2 feet, you
Yep.
know, the mountains are right here.
2 feet
And
and straight up. Yeah, slot canyons.
absolutely. It's
So there are
so
thousands
interesting.
of them here in the South in Utah. Where I building my little resort project, we are within a 2 hour radius. You've got three big national parks. So you've got the Grand Canyon, you've got Zion National Park, and you got Bryce Canyon National Park. So that's three of the big five in Utah.
Well, that
And then
sounds beautiful.
Lake Powell is within that 2 hour radius as well. And we've got about, oh my gosh, we've probably got 1 million acres of open desert where you can ride. So if you like to off road or get out on your side by side or your four wheeler, have a ball. It's awesome. I love the West. And there's not a lot of trees that get in the way. But my family's originally from Tennessee. So I don't know if I ever mentioned that to you. We're from a little
No.
town called Tellico Plains. If you go to Tellico Plains, you'll find uh, a whole cemetery full of coppingers going clear back to the 1840s. Just hundreds of them.
All right, so I'm pulling up a map, see if I've ever
Yeah,
been
it's just
anywhere
south of
near
Great Smoky Mountain National Park, south of Knoxville.
Pigeon Forge. Okay.
Tellico
Nice.
Plains. Yep.
No, that sounds amazing. It sounds
It's out in
beautiful.
the middle of nowhere. It's a little town still.
No, it's rare to find those little towns because they're getting bought up and people putting data centers in random
Hmm.
places. Like, I love that small towns can stay small towns.
Oh yeah, and Tennessee's beautiful. When we lived out in Maryland, we used to love to go over and explore the Shenandoah Valley. The Shenandoah Valley dumps you out right there at Knoxville. It's just beautiful. The whole area there is just gorgeous.
Yeah, I think we have a few more questions, Sandy. Did you want to ask one about tech or anything?
Yeah, man. So Kirk, probably I'll take a small deviation here,
Yeah,
Uh, and again, like this journey of being a founder, I can sense this. Like if we just go and ask to any random guy, you want to be a founder, they will be like, do I need to? But with this whole AI shifting the dynamics, like in the last 3 4 years, if you see, the resources that is available for anyone is kind of huge. With
yes,
AI exploding like anything, you have everything almost that you need to start your founder's journey right away in front of you. All you need is an idea. you know you can kind of like validate that idea, or you can find your customer niche, anything and everything. So I would like to ask you this question, like, you were already a founder, you're already like 2 to 3 years being a founder, and now you joined one day. So how is that AI kind of helping you out in your journey?
oh, AI is revolutionary, even in the construction industry. And, the construction industry is one of those industries that's usually a late adopter of any technology, and we resist it. I'll be honest. The change from, just going from paper to computers was painful and it took a very long time. And we still have people that aren't very good at the computers today. And I mean, computers have been around for 50 years. It's not anything new.
Yep.
But with the AI, just today, as a matter of fact, I just purchased a new tool
Hmm.
for my construction company. I just actually got Toggle AI.
Hmm.
That's Toggle.ai if you wanted to go look it up. But what
Hmm.
it is AI. This guy worked for On Center Software, which owns On-Screen Takeoff. On-Screen Takeoff for the last 20 plus years has been the industry standard for digital takeoffs on a screen. Uh,
Hmm.
so what he did is he was like, and it still feels like it's 20 years old. On screen does. So he went out and started his company in 2022, and now he's just getting up to 6,000 subscribers. So he's a small business founder as well.
Mm-hmm.
But what he's doing is now he goes in and he can do a little, you can take a what pattern search or an image search. So he'll take a little screenshot of an image and it'll go through and count every one of those for you using the AI. So now he's
Mm-hmm.
taking some just this week. You'll like this. I'm doing some consulting work for a group called the Solid Construction Group here in Utah. He's
Mm-hmm.
giving me two commercial buildings. One of them was 7th and Main up in Midvale, and the other
Mm-hmm.
one is called Le Petit Maison. It's
Mm-hmm.
an antique shop. They're building a new building in Draper.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he released me last Thursday and said, hey, I need you to go do this and do a takeoff and build me a conceptual estimate and a pro forma. Well,
Mm-hmm.
Wednesday, he calls me and says, we had to give the guy an answer on Monday. And so don't waste any more time on 7th and Main.
Mm-hmm.
I'd spent 3 days doing takeoffs,
Mm-hmm.
doing it manually without this AI tool.
Mm-hmm.
This AI tool today in the showing me the tool, he the the sales guy there with Toggle AI, he sat down and he did a whole house for me in literally 15 minutes. That would have taken me about a day, day and a half to really go through and do it right. So
Got it.
AI has increased I mean, it's increasing takeoff capacity, it's increasing accuracy. I can then
Mm-hmm.
take it, dump it into an Excel spreadsheet, and then the AI will automatically go through and fill it all out. All I'm doing now is spot checking it as the estimator. I don't have to go through and spend the 3, 4, 5 days. So because of that 7th and Main thing, I wasted 3.5 days of work. So 3 days at my consultation rate, I just lost $2,200 worth of revenue because I
Mm-hmm.
couldn't get it done fast enough. So AI is proving to be incredibly useful. And I got to be honest, I use Perplexity AI because it's almost like Google. It does search engines of other search engines.
Yep.
So anyway, I use Perplexity, and I frankly don't know how I lived without it. And since joining one day, I've gotten into Make, and now I'm building my own assistants and things like that. So one of the ones I'm working on still have some bugs, but I'm working on it. I'm trying to get an assistant that'll go through my AI, through all my emails because I get over 100 a day. So I want it sorted, into the ones that are junk and the ones that I really need to pay attention to. It pre-writes all my email responses. I'm going through and maybe tweaking them a little bit and sending them out. So to get through my emails takes 15 minutes, whereas, 100 emails a day, that's all I had time for. So
Got it.
AI is extremely powerful. I'm
Mm-hmm.
finding it extremely useful as a founder.
Yep. That's very very insightful, Kirk. So like me and Injury, like last time when we were talking, we told like we kind of have an exactly opposite perspective on AI stuff. Injury is kind of getting in there. Uh, so so now Injury, I hope we have one more use case there favoring AI. So what do you think now?
Say that
Well,
again?
yeah, no,
Injury.
so before, there's a Sandy loves AI. It's a fact.
Sandy does. Okay, good.
So I'm a little cautious. And the reason why is because yes, it's a great tool. It's fantastic. It does everything that we want it to do because that's how computers are supposed to be. We made computers to make our lives easier. What worries me is some of the malicious use cases and also the fact that it needs so much power and it needs resources that humans need. So now we're putting data centers in the middle of the ocean, literally boiling the ocean. Um, there's definitely a debate about climate change. I'm not a scientist. I don't know what's true, what's not, but making the ocean hotter. does not sound like a good idea. Uh, for whatever reason, however that's happening. So I'm concerned about, its impact on our ability to think deeply, because some people are just using it to write 1,000-word essays. So the kids are already illiterate at some point, and it's kind of making them things worse. Now people aren't thinking, uh, you know, just those type of concerns.
Kind of like
Like it,
the handwriting thing. When I was in school, I'm a Gen X guy, right? I'm 52. I was taught how to do cursive. So I can read the Constitution in the original form because it was written in cursive. But, kids these days aren't even taught cursive because we type everything. So I get you. There's a little bit of advancement there, and we tend to abandon things that were actually good for us.
yeah,
I hear you. And we've got data centers here too in Utah. In Utah, water in the West is rare. We have massive shortages of water, right? People kill each other over water rights. Still, it's crazy. Water is extremely important out here, and there's not enough of it, not nearly enough. It's not like the East Coast where you're at, Jerry. There, you've got plenty of water. We don't have any. But we've got a Facebook and a Meta uh, data center just over the hill here in Eagle Mountain, and they use so much water that it's actually impeding growth out there. And the water is so hard to come by that it's like, are we going to be sacrificing water for crops, and sustainability for data centers? And just up the road here, just about 7 miles, is the big NSA data center. So we've got, three data centers right here in the area that use as much water as all of Utah County. And, that's like, it's a ton of resources. It's a ton of resources.
yeah. There's also something similar happening right now in Memphis, Tennessee. Elon Musk opened up XAI, and using all of the water, the energy. People nearby have blackouts, like rolling blackouts, using the water from the Mississippi River to cool that data center. No, he's actually using the aquifer. So Memphis sits on top of a natural filtration system called
Mhm.
an aquifer,
Aquifer, yeah.
and like that went to the residents as tap water, and like the surrounding areas. Dasani uses Memphis water. They bottle it up and they sell it. So now Elon Musk is using that to cool the supercomputer. Now,
It's for cooling, yeah. It's not usually contaminated, but it's cooling. So it's warmer. It's a lot of waste heat and a lot of energy.
right, and there's concerns about the pollution coming off of that too. I'm not privy to. Oh yeah, it's some pollutants that are leaking into the air from the supercomputer or whatever components or gases
Hmm.
or whatever they're using. So they're getting a smog issue in a place where there was no smog, where there was no pollution. So
Hmm.
just a little bit of concern wherever these data centers and supercomputers are popping up. Like I really think that there should be something done in adjacent to,
Need
you
to
know.
start thinking about how we use these resources and being a little more strategic, maybe is what you're thinking.
Yeah, no, I mean like if you're using something that uses water, maybe build in or put just as much money, time, and resources into building in a filtration system. So you take what you need, you filter that back into the thing that you're doing. You don't continue to take from the water source that was for humans. Or you're building something, you encase it in something that filters for air pollutants, or you build, filtration systems around town to filter out whatever you're doing. You don't just dump your waste wherever, which is the air or the
Hmm.
land, like kind of like taking care of the stuff that you do,
Hmm.
for lack of better words, picking up after yourself. And I really
Yeah.
feel like these tech companies aren't picking up after themselves when it comes to, you know, trying to be the first to the moon, trying to be the first to the major innovation when it comes to AI. People just aren't being responsible.
Not always, sometimes, but not always. You're right. Yeah, there's a lot of opinions out there, and I always question whether or not I always have to go back to primary resources. Uh, when you mentioned smog and things like that in the 60s, 70s, 50s, even into the 80s, smog was a massive problem on the West Coast. Turned out a lot of that was from manufacturing, and a lot of it was from off-gassing of materials, new materials. So we've adopted new, cleaner materials for things. So sounds like maybe there's some innovation opportunities there for some entrepreneurs to dive in and find some cleaner ways to do some stuff.
Yeah,
Anytime there's a problem, there's an opportunity, right? We talk about in the 1 day program when you're talking about the in the first class, what's your broken leg problem? Well, bad air. There's an
for sure.
opportunity. The question is, how do you monetize it?
Right. And
There's
I
great
think it,
opportunities with these data centers to figure out, okay, how do we do the cooling? How can we do it so it uses less resources? There's an opportunity there. And surely some young, inspiring entrepreneur is going to jump in there and do things. I mentioned that I worked for the NSA for a while. Okay. I did right straight out of college. I went to work for the NSA. Um, got me, some free trips to parts of the world that I'd rather not have ever seen, but they were gorgeous, but they were full of, miserable people and, killing, like Afghanistan.
for
That was
sure.
that was a wonderful vacation spot, let me tell you, when the bullets weren't flying. It was great. But one of the things I've learned, and one of the things I highly value, and being an entrepreneur, uh, we are very pro uh, opportunity and pro growth. We're trying to come up with new ways of doing things. We're trying to come up with ways of solving problems, be they social problems or economic problems, or enhancing people's lives with vacation homes, or a better iPhone, a better phone, right? We're always looking for some kind of innovation. One thing I've learned is that there are smart people everywhere. My dad is nothing more than a UPS man, right? He delivered packages for 35 years. His body shot, he's wore out. Yet, from him, I've learned that he's not actually a dumb guy. He never went to college, but he's dang smart. He's come up with some really impressive things. And there's a kid in my hometown that learned how to build robotic hands. He's out there building robotic hands for amputees. He had an opportunity to go to MIT, but he'd already figured out how to do this before MIT. People are smart. And the more of us we have thinking and looking for solutions to things, the better life's going to get. Because we don't make money by forcing people to do things. We make money by providing solutions and helping resolve problems that people have.
That's so beautiful. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of
Lindsay, you're on mute
capitalism in a in
probably.
a in a in a nutshell, right? We make money by solving people's problems, which is wonderful. And the more successful we are, the more money we make. So it's a beautiful thing. And I lived in Eastern Europe where, I got to see the dregs and the vestiges and what was left over of communism in the 1990s. I was living in Kiev in 1993. Uh, Ukraine had declared its independence and actually got their independence in was it October or November? I think it was November of 1992. I was there in March of 1993 in this brand new country. Well, not brand new, it's an old country, but in this country of Ukraine that had just broken away from the Soviet Union. So seeing their centrally planned economy, the beauty of what we have and how we find solutions, I could easily see why the Cold War went the way it did. Americans and what we have here with the freedom to be able to innovate and find new and better ways of doing things makes life better for us. Where over there, everything was centrally planned and you had to stay in your lane. There were only a certain number of people that were allowed to innovate. And so they stagnated. When I got to Ukraine, everything looked like it had come out of the 1940s or 50s. They were still driving trucks that looked like they were out of the 1940s. They had shortages in cars. Nobody had washing machines because, well, everybody couldn't have them, so nobody could have them. And the washing machines that there were available were just agitators. They just sat there and spun. So the beauty of being able to innovate and be an entrepreneur is freedom, and it's something that makes life so much better for all of us. Because Jerry, you got a great project going there up in Lansing. You're looking to originally you were looking at doing concrete homes, but now you're doing financial education and helping people get into affordable homes and get them on their feet and teach them. So you're finding solutions.
That was a couple of pivots ago. So
Oh, you've
that's
changed.
that's definitely a part of the roadmap. So like I need to skip and then come back because one of those things or part of that idea may not be investable. So I'm going the for-profit route this time.
Mhm.
And I'm going to do a separate company later that's nonprofit that helps teach all of those things. But for now, I'm doing a SaaS model. And it actually sounds a lot like this Toggle AI. That's an idea that I landed on about 2 or 3 weeks ago that I've moved forward with. And I've actually run with it and got into some local programs like some accelerators, and I have some opportunities to get some capital and investments or some backing. Not sure yet. I actually finished the application process yesterday so that I can start
Mhm.
to have those types of conversations, but it's looking like very similar to Toggle AI, but instead of only doing bids for the contractors and getting those estimates and takeoffs going, it's going to be something more along the lines of in general funding for projects that need funding. And I know that's a really general idea. It's very vague, but that's where I am right now. I don't have an MVP. I don't have anything else.
You're working through at the ideation phase. So you're working through that first module and
Yeah.
you're finding something new. But what's beautiful, Jerry, about what you were originally thinking was that you weren't waiting on the government to come and solve it. You were finding a way to do it yourself, which when people step up and do wonderful things like that, it's amazing what people can do. And you can get to that point where you can do that nonprofit side that you can't really fund. That's what Susan and I are doing with our Holland House project. That's not something I can monetize. I
Right.
can't monetize giving money away to pay co-pays and deductibles for people to go get counseling and learn communication skills. Although it's going to make a massive improvement socially, who's going to pay for that?
That's what my mentor said. Nobody wants to help people get affordable housing. Nobody
That's
wants to
right.
invest in that. That sounds unsexy to an angel investor. Come up with something else.
Well,
Like, okay.
you know what is sexy to an angel investor is, hey, I've got this idea where, I'm going to build these for-profit units and we're going to rent them out, right? And the profits that you take go into an endowment that you manage to build more projects down the road. And you start kicking out 50% of that profit to help subsidize that stuff. And you use it as a tax write-off.
No, for sure. The
And now
trust
you've
is,
just helped solve some of that affordability crisis for housing without
yeah,
the government.
yeah, the trust is definitely something down the line, and we got to have more conversations
Oh,
and
heck yeah.
potentially add on to this one. But you're doing so much, doing like so many great things.
Well, I'm old, so I better hurry up and get it done now. I'm not as young as you. I'm 52. I've only got maybe, 20-ish years, 20 years, maybe a little more left in the tank before, I'm going to be tired and want to retire, spend time with grandkids and things like that. So I'm having to, push hard now. I'm having to push things a little more, a little harder, a little faster. Wish I was 20 years younger. If I was 20 years younger, then maybe I could focus on the construction side and then do the other stuff later. But I got to push it all at once because I'm just too damn old.
Everything is a new beginning, Kirk. That's how I would like to believe.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Well, I'm at a
like,
point in life where I can do this. I don't have kids, the stress is down. I don't have, I own a home. I own two homes. I'm at a position where I can do this. So there's also a benefit to being older.
yeah, you get more wiser.
Uh-huh. And my give a damn's busted too. So something isn't working, I don't give a damn. I just move on.
Mhm. Yeah, and I think I have one thing for injury here. Like as we were discussing, as you mentioned about being innovative, injury probably we should ask this big giant data center guys to put their data center in ocean, so we can get those salt waters and use that, and then whatever is coming out, we can get thermal energy out of it and get some potable water back. This guy is heating up. The data center is heating up. So why do you want to heat up the coal to get that thermal energy?
Yeah,
Hmm.
they actually already are putting them in the ocean. I think it's China.
I mean,
I
it's,
don't know.
it's
I'm
not the ocean though. You have to take the water and make something out of it.
for sure. I don't know if they're doing anything with the water. I think they just are using it as a coolant because it's so cold at the bottom of the ocean. But I could be incorrect. I'm going off of the Google app notifications. Like I get those, you know, article links sent to me, and sometimes I just read the title because the title gives
Mm.
you enough. Uh,
You need to
sometimes I
build a heat
screen.
exchanger plant where you're stripping that heat off there and using it for something good, right?
Yeah, I mean, how much coal you're burning every single day, even like to get those thermal energy engines going on, right? I mean, why can't we use a data center? Again, end of the day, both are kind of heating up.
Talking about coal energy for like power plants and things like that, or natural gas for power plants.
Yeah,
And then we
yeah.
use that to build heat, and then we've got waste heat that's just going away, that's just going up in the atmosphere and being wasted.
Yeah, I mean, you heat that, you boil the water, get the like steam, and take it to a turbine, get the energy. So if you want the water to convert to steam, just use a data center.
Hmm.
Just boil the water, it's heating up, right?
Let me give you a good example of that. About 50 years ago, a
Hmm.
project was started in Germany called Passive House. Have you guys ever heard of Passive House?
No.
No? Passive House. So what they wanted to do is they wanted to build a house that was so efficient that you could heat it passively, like with a candle.
Hmm.
So from that goal that was very ambitious at the time, because our furnaces and things like that were around 70% efficient, we've come up with new technologies. One of those is called a heat recovery ventilator. So
Hmm.
you put this in place of your exhaust fan in your bathroom, right? It kicks on from time to time, and what it does is it brings fresh air in and it exhausts, the stale air out. Well, the stale air in especially heating areas is warm. So you're exhausting warm air out and bringing cold air in that you now have to heat up. So that doesn't sound very efficient.
Right.
So what they came up with is these heat recovery ventilators are actually air-to-air heat exchangers. So they'll
Mhm.
actually exchange the heat. So that will take and strip the heat out of the air that's being exhausted up to about 90% efficient, 95, and then
Mhm.
it'll transfer it over into the air that's coming in and heat up the cold air that you're bringing into the building so you end up with much less heat loss.
Hmm.
Such a small little invention, but I mean, today we're building homes to a standard that far exceeds what we had, 50 or even 20 years ago. They're so much tighter. We're talking about less air exchanges per hour and much less energy.
Yep.
Almost everybody has like a 95 or a 98%, and they use AFUE, which is the annual fuel utilization.
Mhm.
of a furnace, right? That's just one of the rating systems that they use. But now they're 95 to 98% efficient. Where 50 years ago, 70% was the standard. 30% of every dollar, 30 cents on every dollar went up the flue and waste heat.
Mm.
And today it's, 2 to 5 cents. We're
Yep.
making much better use of it. That's the innovation. That's the
For
innovation
sure.
that founders are all about. That's what one day is all about. Founders and innovation.
When I start building those houses, I need to know the recipe.
Yep. I got you. I got you. I actually
Awesome.
studied energy. I worked for the state of Colorado from 2010 to 2012, where I was actually the director of their one of their regions for weatherization. And what I did is that's what I focused on was energy efficiency in buildings.
Hmm.
Yeah,
So
we talked about that for a little bit. You mentioned that you came up with a way you have like a level 2 rating for energy efficiency or something like that.
yeah, there are different energy ratings that you can get, but yeah, what I like to do is I've come up with a way to seal the billing envelope and manage my air leakage and stuff like that.
For
So
sure.
I'm minimizing how much heat you're losing and how much you have to bring in while maintaining a healthy environment inside the house.
Yeah,
Most
you said
people
that
don't
you can,
realize that their house leaks really bad, like 2,000 cubic feet per hour.
for
So
sure.
that's like you get like a full, the air in your house will fully change every, well, in a bad house, it'll change two, three, four, 5 times an hour. You'll feel cold. In a better house, you'll every 4 or 5 hours, all the air will leak out and you'll have to reheat all new air, right? So if we can get that down to where we're not leaking as much heat,
Yeah,
that's
you
the
said
fun.
you can heat a house with a candle. Last
Yeah,
time we
That's
spoke.
passive house.
Yeah,
There's a standard out there. It's a German standard. It was started in Germany. And yeah, I mean, we're talking triple pane windows. We're talking thermally broken doors. We're talking super insulation. Like this house that I'm in right now, I insulated the roof to about an R100 and the walls are insulated to an R38. I literally have trash trucks drive down the road and I can barely hear them, and my bedroom's on the roadside. I don't
wow.
hear the traffic going by my house.
so. I think that point is definitely going into my app because just like Injiri mentioned, she started with the construction. I'm also kind of building an app for the homeowners. That's the kind of thing that I'm working as part of one day.
Okay.
And it all started with figuring out why can't we digitalize our documents. And from that tone, with all the conversations I had with builders and realtors and property managers, mortgage brokers, they brought up a common point, like people are not aware about things, especially the new homeowners, because they don't know like why your mortgage rates increase even though we lock for a 30-year. What is the thing that they need to keep an eye on because their bills are going up? Your warranties do help you, but what if you misplace the document? And end of the day, like, what are the signals you should look for when your equipment is about to burst out pretty soon? So these are kind of like some knowledge graphs I was trying to build out. So yes, this whole air changing use case is something that I'm going to put in there. So thank you for that.
Oh, yeah. You can go look at, uh, there's a program through Oak Ridge Laboratories, National Laboratories.
Hmm.
They put out a couple of programs. They were called NEAT and MIA, NEAT and MHEA, the mobile home or manufactured housing
Hmm.
was in MIA, but the NEAT program was all about energy efficiency in single family stick framed homes.
Hmm.
So
Okay,
there's
got
a
it.
lot of stuff in there. You should dig into that. But to add to your app, one of the things that owners more often than not are missing in terms
Mhm.
of the knowledge is in commercial, we hand over a set of as-built drawings. And part of that, we hand over operations manuals and owner's manuals for all the equipment that's in the building. You
Hmm.
know, owners, if they just kind of had some of that equipment that was, or some of that stuff that was simplified to the point that they could figure out how to fix their dishwasher when it's clogged. Oh, there's a screen in the bottom. I got to empty it once in a while. Oh, wow.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think that does make sense because
That documentation is always missing. If they just had it.
documentation, DIYs, and probably like if you have a college kid around who is ready to help you, help you to fix this stuff, and all they need is a DIY video, you can probably get them to your house and they can do it for like a very minimal charge. Because sometimes, I mean, this did happen to me. I was almost about to pay it, and a guy who I got from Google tried to charge me a 10 grand to replace my HVAC, and the problem was simply solved by filling the freon.
Hmm.
Two 250 to 10 grands, so this kind of little hacks and little knowledge bases, little checklist, if we can make it available for the homeowners, that should kind of help them from being, I wouldn't say the word fooled, but getting them tricked to for a more kind of like an upsell, right?
Yeah. Why would you pay somebody $500 to show up to pull a
Mhm.
trap?
Yep.
Your sink's clogged. It's a trap. It takes 10 minutes. It's two screw joints. You don't even need any tools.
Right.
But Anytime Services will come do it for you for, 500 bucks. It's a
Yeah.
$200 trip charge.
Yep. 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 There you go.
Yeah, I'm excited to see your app. I'm
Right.
excited to see you succeed. This is awesome. And I'm
Yeah.
excited for Jerry too. I three or four pivots and geez, we only talked what 2, 3 weeks ago and wow, look how far she's gone. This is awesome.
Yep.
I love the
No,
She
innovations.
Right. She has all these ideas, and I always keep this builder construction thing behind the back of my brain. So last time when I went to the Home Builders Association, I got them saying like, the five L's that are the troublemakers for home builders. One of them is, lumbar, and another one is the land. And I was thinking this is a use case for injury. And I was just talking to her offline, just telling her like, hey, I found this use case. One guy told me about this one. So what are you doing there?
Hmm. I've been battling the land myself on this project down in Hurricane. I've been 2 years trying to get through all the zoning and planning commission, and we finally got our final plat done, and we've got our construction drawings done, and I've got a partner that needs to make a payment on Monday, or else, we're going to get in trouble. But but we're to that point where we're ready to break ground. We'll be breaking ground in January. It's been 2 years in the making, though. The land and the entitlements, whew, painful. So, what's your background, Sandeep?
Yeah, so I am from the software industry basically. So my 15 years of career is like software, building softwares. And when I joined one day, the day one itself, I had to pivot. I don't know if anyone has had that opportunity. It's like a very funny reason. So I was off to build, you know, how would I put it? So automated dress stitching was what I was trying to build. So honestly, like it's like if you have a CAD kind of a design tool where you can design a dress, and when the design is finalized, you can have like big warehouses like Walmart where you have like whole linen and the clothes kind of sitting there, and this there will be systems that will be pulling the required cloth, doing the cutting, stitching, and then packing and sending it to your doorstep. So in a way, like you can design your own dress if you want to. uh, and when I put this idea first, the thing that came up was like we don't have much competition in that area. So it could work, but since there is not much competition, we don't know like how that whole thing is going to play out end of the day. So that's where we have to like, okay, let's keep this in the backlog for now, and let's do something which has more competition and traction. And then I went to build an app that will list down all the handymans. So basically people can go ahead and recommend handymans who have helped them by citing like, who was handyman, what is their contact detail, how much they charge, what was the issue, what was their diagnosis, and finally when they showed up from calling, and how long they took to fix the problem. uh, like I went ahead and started asking this question in Reddit, and people were like smashing me like anything, like, we are not going to trust any more apps. There are like so many already out there, we don't want to like lose that whole sentiments of word of mouth thing, because the genuine guys you get are coming from word of mouth and they just wanted to keep that sentiments going. Then I had to pivot again to this specific app, and this is where right now I am.
Hmm. An app. It feels like you should be like you're leaning into AI, right?
Yes, it
Because
has.
AI is going to bring in more, and it's thinking, and they can ask questions in uh, more of a layman's terms and get to the right answer eventually here.
Right. Right. To an extent, like if you like, I have an AI onboarded into my current app. So if you scan a document and send it to that, it can like take some excerpts and tell you like if it is a receipt for renewing, a contract or something. It can tell you when it is going to expire and when you have to renew. It can tell you when your warranty is going to expire. It can tell you when you are about to get into new things, and on a seasonal basis, it can tell you what kind of maintenances you need to do, kind of a thing.
That's awesome. I can't wait to see your app. I'm excited to hear it.
Yep.
I think Jerry and I were originally in the same uh, group, aren't we? And then we changed, or how did we meet, Jerry? I can't remember.
Yeah, so I actually met you on a 1 day community course before I started my cohort. Like I was showing up to all the community classes before the August cohort started. So I think we met in like June or July on a
Gotcha.
call. We were in a breakout room with Shannon Banker,
Uh-huh.
and you guys were talking, and I was on mute, camera off, and you were like, "Wait, there's somebody else here," and I came off mute and
Jerry,
introduced myself.
hey.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I was just a fly on the wall for a little bit because your conversation was so interesting, and I liked how you guys were interacting with each other. And I didn't want to interrupt, and I didn't really have that much to say anyway because I hadn't started yet. So I was pretty much just listening.
Huh. Well, you fooled me. I thought you were way advanced and smarter than me because, you know, what's the saying is it goes something along the lines of, it's better to be silent and be thought a fool than it is to open your mouth and take away all doubt.
Yeah, I've heard something like that too.
I talk too much.
No, no, it's fantastic. Well,
The quiet one in the corner was the smart one. So at Jerry, we were all looking at you and kind of thinking, uh-oh, this one's way smarter than the rest of us. She's sitting there rolling her eyes and going, these two idiots.
no, not at all. I think that day I was actually having car trouble. I was like
Oh,
waiting on a
yeah,
battery. Like I was just, sitting in the car just
you
listening.
were. I
Yeah, for
remember that.
sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, yeah,
Well,
keep in touch, guys. I'd certainly want to keep in touch with both of you because this has been a heck of a wonderful conversation. I don't know if we're exceeding your time period or what, but
We didn't put a time period because as interesting as this conversation is, there is a lot that people might benefit from.
sure.
Because it's about the journey, as they always speak. There are like a lot of folks that I know are interested to step into the world of being founders and CEOs. For them, it is very important to get to know all these details, like where were we and where we are going, what is this journey about, how our whole thinking process is going to change, and with all the advancements that we see today, how it is going to help and accelerate things out there. And all this chit chats also kind of helps to a greater extent, because people can kind of connect and start, like looking forward. They can kind of start building, they can see that future, like I am getting there into a founder's shoe now, kind of a thing.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I think Injury had a question, so go ahead, Injury.
Fire away.
yeah, no. I just wanted to say we definitely have to schedule you for a part two or to come on once again. But we don't want to do super lengthy episodes just starting out. We want it to be a little bit more digestible. So I think I'm going to take it away and wrap it up with one last question, if that's all right. All
Yeah.
right, Kirk. In 30 seconds, what is the best piece of advice for founders or anyone that might not fit where they are right now?
I'd say explore being an innovator. As a founder, first and foremost, you need to be an innovator. You got to be somebody who wants to find a problem and you want to solve it. It's not about the money. It's not about the title. It's not about being a CEO. It's literally finding a problem and solving it. That's very rewarding and it'll motivate you like nobody's business. Be an innovator.
That's
All
great.
right.
That's great. Yep, that's the biggest advice to anyone who is thinking that am I a founder material, and like just like you mentioned, you see a problem, you find a solution. You are already a founder now. It's your journey, you know. That's great, Kirk. I really love that.
Thanks. That's what I
And
believe, honestly. That's why I find capitalism to be so beautiful. It's full of people who are just trying to make life better. And our success is determined by, how many people we help.
yep,
All right. You guys for tuning in for the MBA Podcast.
cool. Thanks, Kirk. Thanks,